Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to talk about video, and this is a huge topic, and it's growing and growing, and so we're going to go through a lot of those stats today. Just a few housekeeping things. We are going to hold all questions, so if you have questions, please use the GoToWebinar panel to type in any question that you have. There's actually a questions tab that you can do, and we'll make sure to get back to you with any answers that we have for you. And then after the webinar, we will be sending out this recording. So thank you again for joining. We do share the recording. We do not share the PowerPoint itself. But you can look for that recording after the webinar. So without further ado, I would love to introduce Brian Kroll. He's our VP of Sales and Strategic Accounts, and he is sitting in the Bay Area with us today, and he's going to go through video.
Awesome. Thanks, Kenzie, and thanks everybody for joining. I'm very excited to be here today. Let's jump in now to the agenda here. Basically, just first a little bit about us for Ad Taxi. So we have about 250, probably closer to 300 employees now across the country. We have offices in 12 of the top 25 DMAs. We're very proud and sort of stand by our retention rate for our advertisers. We have a rolling 93% retention rate over the last almost 3 years now for our complex campaigns, and we have run about 4,000 campaigns a month. But we are a client-centric digital marketing organization. We pride ourselves on really the combination of people and technology to help businesses solve unique and complex challenges. Everything we do is custom, and everything we do is performance-driven. And we've been evolving quite rapidly over the last couple of years. We've been a Google Premier partner for about 4+ years now. We've been a Bing Elite partner for also about 3 years. We became a badged Facebook marketing partner last year. And in 2016, we're very proud to say that we were the Google Channel Sales Award winner for innovation for our Magellan technology for search. But today, we're going to talk all about video. So just general overview, we'll go through sort of why video now, talk a little bit about how video influences the buyer's journey. We'll dive into some of the video solutions that you can bring to bear for your business. We'll talk more about how video fits into an omni-channel strategy. And then we'll also get into, we'll finish off with why Ad Taxi is a great video partner for your business. So why digital video now? I love digital video, and I think the most marketers love digital video because you're able to combine the power of sight, sound, and motion to really convey emotion. You can do things with video that you can't do with standard assets that really showcase really unique emotion-driven business assets about your business, and it's something that really can help connect with consumers wherever they are in the buying journey. To get them interested and make contact with your business and tell them why they should do business with you. And some of the benefits and reach of video. So 85% of the US internet audience watches videos online, and half of US consumers subscribe to some sort of paid streaming video service. More content is uploaded in 30 days online than the major US networks have created in 30 years. And more than 500 million hours of video are watched on YouTube every single day. And marketers who use video grow their revenue 49% faster than non-video marketers. So there's a massive amount of video out there, and it's a great way to connect with consumers to help grow your business because of just the overall scale that exists for digital video. What's interesting, though, is there's a massive disproportionality in terms of ad spending. So traditional TV, as you'll see here, still gets about 75% of the total time spent in terms of video watching, whereas digital video is about 25%, but it still gets 87% of the traditional ad dollars are still going to traditional TV. So digital video has a lot of time, and it's growing. It's been trending up in the last couple of years pretty significantly, but the spend is still going to traditional TV. And some of the things we're going to talk about later today are some of the ways that connected TV, I think, is really starting to change that shift and drive that paradigm in terms of more budget flowing to digital video. But there's incredible opportunities with digital video, and we'll run through some of those in a little bit. One thing that's important to note is that media consumption is on the rise, but not for all platforms. The average time spent per day with major media by US adults in 2018 was 724 minutes, almost 725 minutes. So that's over 12 hours, and it's up about 15 minutes from last year. And you can kind of see on the left-hand side, this is from eMarketer, but from 2011 to 2015, just spending time online on desktop and mobile increased 68%, whereas TV dropped 4%, time spent with print dropped 52%, time spent with connected and streaming TV jumped 39%, and radio declined 5%. And then as you see from 2015 to 2018, when they republished the study, desktop and mobile were still growing, although not quite as fast. They were growing at 13%. TV was declining at an even more rapid rate than it was previously. Print's still declining. Connected TV is where you're seeing a massive surge in terms of time spent, and radio is still declining. So basically, the traditional forms of media are declining, but people are being more plugged in and spending a lot more time with digital media, and that gives a lot more opportunities for marketers to connect with audiences very relevantly and very cost effectively. So where people watch digital video, it's not all on one device. So 22% watch on connected TV, 34% on a desktop or laptop, 19% on a tablet, and 26% on a smartphone. So if you're just buying broadcast and you're trying to reach an audience with video, you're missing out on a huge group of consumers. And people don't just pick one platform. Oftentimes they're interchanging multiple different platforms throughout the day, depending on where they are and what they're doing. Some of the trends that we're currently seeing with video is that we're seeing typically shorter video ads. Instead of seeing the traditional 30-second spots, more and more marketers are going to 15-second spots. The 6-second spots on YouTube, the bumper ads, are also becoming very prevalent. Video is becoming more and more done on viewed on a mobile device, whether that's a phone or a tablet. We're seeing deeper personalization in videos in terms of speaking more to consumers because of how we're able to target. You know more about that person, you're able to send them more personalized videos, and it has a greater effect in terms of the return. We're seeing more programmatic ad buying. I think about 75% of all video ad buying this year is done programmatically, and that's up from about 50% from a couple years ago. And the reason for that is we're able to get more measurement. So better reporting, better insights in terms of what we can do from tracking. That's from connected TV all the way to standard pre-roll. You can measure website activity after people have been exposed to your video ads. And you can also do some pretty cool things with targeting, like sequential messaging and things like that to really help get your creative message out. And there's really sort of ubiquitous distribution opportunities out there. You can reach consumers just about any time of day on any device, and you can know that with the right programmatic buying, that frequency can be controlled so that you can be really smart about how you're reaching people, where you're reaching people, and the messages you're delivering to have the best possible impact. One of the most exciting things that's happening right now is what we'll call sort of the connected TV revolution. And with connected TV, what we're talking about is whether you're calling it over the top, or you may have heard that as OTT or connected TV, and we abbreviate that as CTV. What we're talking about here is it's an internet connected TV, and it's streaming content, on the biggest screens in the household. So it's all professionally produced premium content, or it's live sporting events, etc. It's live content. Think about it as it's basically you're watching TV. It's just not done over the cable box or over the air. It's done via the internet, and it's generally done through 4 sort of typical devices. We'll call, like on the left-hand side here, you see like the hockey puck. So that might be like your Apple TV or Roku. The stick could be something like an Amazon Fire Stick. The smart TV, most TVs that have been sold in the last couple of years are internet capable and already plugged in. So that's another way to do it. Then you also have your consoles. So your Xbox One, your PlayStation, you're able to stream content through those media consoles now. So there's a massive amount of these devices out there, and there's massive amount of consumer adoption happening with connected TV. But what's really cool about connected TV is because you are going through the household IP, you have ways now to target and measure and retarget specific households to give your TV commercials or videos even greater impact. So essentially with what we call addressable, you could serve an ad to one household who's watching a live sporting event through streaming, and give that household a completely different ad than their next door neighbor who's watching the exact same thing at the exact same time, and be able to target that based on data. So you could retarget people who are website visitors. You could target people based on predictive modeling. There's a massive amount of possibilities out there, but the precision is pretty insane. And a trend that we've been seeing across the country is people are cutting the cord. So about 5 million consumers have dropped their cable subscriptions since 2010, and we're predicting that about 10.8 million more are going to cut the cord over the next 5 years. So the trend is growing. Traditional cable subscriptions continue to decline, and more people are moving to streaming in terms of how they want to watch their TV content. The main reason for that is because it's all about convenience. You can watch what you want, when you want. It's not by appointment. You don't have to have a DVR. And according to a poll by the IAB, 47% of the respondents said that they literally love the convenience, the ability to watch on their own schedule. The fact that there are no commercials or fewer commercials are key as well. Obviously, if you're paid subscriptions, some platforms like HBO Go, Amazon, Netflix, they aren't going to have commercials, but other ones will. So, but if you do have commercials, they're typically going to be fewer than you would if you were just watching traditional cable networks. A lot of times, it's the new or different or original content that's being put out there. You're seeing Netflix now starting to, and other producers winning major awards. There's an insane amount of additional variety out there, and also some things like HBO Go in particular are uncensored. So there's a lot of convenience factors of why people are cutting the cord. It's not just one thing, but it's definitely the trend that's been happening, and it's all about becoming relevant to the user and watching what you want when you want it. Now, it's interesting when we look at the trends is this isn't happening across all age groups. So this is from eMarketer as well too. If you look at the top line here, this is weekly time spent in hours based on the total population in the US, and this is looking at Q1 2011 to Q4 2016. So if you see on this top black line here, this is consumers who are 65 plus. That demographic is actually probably watching a little bit more TV, traditional TV now, than they were 5 years ago, 6-7 years ago. 51 hours a week, I mean, that's a full-time job. But then as you start to get into younger demographics, Gen X has time with traditional TV has declined about 10%. Millennials have declined about 26%. They're now only watching about 22 hours a week. And then as you get into teens and Gen Z, they're watching almost 40% less traditional TV than they were years ago. And part of that is they're not. It's not that they're spending less time with media, as we talked about earlier. People are actually spending more time with media. It's just that those trends have shifted, and they're moving now. They're watching on different devices, so they're spending less time watching linear TV, but they're spending more time watching content through a connected TV. In terms of adoption and scale, it's pretty massive because of the proliferation of these devices that we talked about earlier. 64% of people in the US currently own a connected TV, and 78% of households will have a connected TV by the year 2020. And then from additional research here, we said 10 plus million, more people are going to be cutting the cord from their paid subscriptions just from now until 2020. Part of the reason for that is the proliferation of what's called skinny bundles. So that would be TV networks who are basically saying, we know you don't want to watch everything. We know that there's probably a select certain groups of channels that you want to watch. We'll offer that up, and we'll offer that up at a lower rate, all as streaming, so that you can get the channels you want without paying for channels you don't want. And you can kind of see that there's a massive amount of those happening everywhere. Just about every cable provider is starting to come up with these packages. But then you also have things like DirecTV Now or Sling or Hulu, YouTube TV, PlayStation View. You can see that you get a lot of the best content here that you would normally get from traditional cable broadcast. So you get Disney, ESPN, Fox, etc. But the monthly rate is significantly less. And just kind of depends on the device you want. But all of this stuff is done streaming, and all of it is done basically without any expensive hardware that you have to buy, just coming straight in through the TV. And if you've been watching any TV lately, and I can't name the sporting events, but any of the major sporting events that have happened in the last couple of months, you'll notice that a lot of the providers there's been a massive push by DirecTV now, massive push by Sling, Hulu as well, sponsoring all of this content. They're trying to get people to use this from the traditional, saying you can still watch all of the same things that you're watching, but you can watch them through streaming now as opposed to your standard cable. And this is an exact real life example of that. My next door neighbor cut the cord about 2 months ago, and he invited us over to watch a national sporting event, and it was the finals. So here in the Bay Area, it was in the third quarter, and we were watching live via DirecTV Now, and we started seeing these just empty commercial spots come up, and it just said, you know, commercial break, we'll be right back. And it would be there for about 30 seconds, and nobody was buying them. And it blew my mind as a marketer that we could have had the opportunity to be buying these spots. I'd just never seen it before because I haven't cut the cord yet. So we dug into our platform and had the BI team look and find out, okay, well, just out of curiosity, in the Bay Area, in the SFDMA, how often is this really happening? And for 30-second spots on an average day, there's over 817 million available spots on connected TVs like this, the biggest screen in the house, in the living room, that are out there any average day. So the scale is absolutely massive. And I've talked to other people who have said they've experienced this exact same thing. Going back to the spend disproportionality, there's a ton of spend that's still happening on traditional, but people haven't realized, or marketers haven't changed as fast as consumers have over to the new technologies. So there's a massive amount of opportunity there. So why this all makes sense right now is there's a decrease in cost to reach consumers. On average, we're seeing with our connected TV at AdTaxi here, the cost per completed video view somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 10 cents. So we could have put an ad on my neighbor's TV in less than 10 cents, targeted exactly to his household watching this major sporting event here in the Bay Area. There's also an increased video consumption. People are spending more time with video, so there's better ways to connect with them. And as a business, video production costs are going down as well too. Used to be that, you know, producing a video or commercial for your business was something that was pretty major and expensive, and also very time consuming. But there's a lot of video producers out there now who are able to enable you to do this at a much more reasonable cost, which also allows you to have better product implementation. So you can start thinking about how would you want to sequentially message somebody? What are the types of things that you would tell a consumer based on what you know about them from a data perspective, to say, hey, this is what I want to tell this segment of consumers. This is the message I want to tell this segment of consumers. And then you can accurately target those messages to people based with programmatic buying. So if you know that you wanted to tell a certain message to women 35 plus than you would to men 35 plus, or if you wanted to tell a different message to households that had children versus households that didn't, you could do that with programmatic buying, and it works so that, you know, again, the household next to you could be watching the exact same content live streaming through one of those streaming services, but should be shown different ads based on that. And the beautiful thing too for us is everything that we're talking about here works harmoniously with other marketing. So it doesn't have to be standalone. It doesn't have to be something to think about, okay, well, what do we do for cable or broadcast? How do we speak to everyone? You can combine this with your current campaigns and say, this is going to merge seamlessly with what I'm doing with traditional display or native or social, audio. All of these things can work harmoniously together, and you can get improved reporting insights from your video as well. So essentially you can start learning, how do my sequential messaging work? Where are people dropping off? How are people interacting with my website after being exposed to digital video, whether it's on a connected TV or whether it's pre-roll or social or YouTube? There's more platforms now, and there's also sort of more competition for the users. So that means that it's a very fragmented space. I just had listed out maybe 5 of those streaming services right now, but there's hundreds of them out there of how people can get online right now through streaming. So as that happens, there's more choice for consumers, and because of the scale, the price is better in terms of how we're able to reach these consumers. So everything makes a ton of sense now for video. And what we are going to dive into next is how we incorporate video everywhere for everyone into your omni-channel strategy. So thinking about how things have changed, going back, I don't even know when this picture was taken. That's not my living room, but kind of looks like my living room looked when I was a kid. Reach was scarce and attention was plentiful. But now when you look at it in terms of attention scarcity and fragmentation, it's a huge challenge. Reach is plentiful and attention is scarce, and people are migrating between multiple devices throughout the day. So, how do we tackle that challenge? So the way that we look at that is you don't just pick one place, you pick multiple places to serve your video strategy. And that would start with what we call RTV pre-roll. So that would be the ad exchanges, ad networks, essentially. You're promoting your video ads to interested consumers prior to them watching content wherever they are. That could be people watching ESPN or CBS or HGTV or Food Network, whatever it is, they're watching video on websites, and we're putting pre-roll in front of them. Could also be done via social. So as people are scrolling through their Facebook or Instagram feeds, you have the ability to put your video ad in front of them on Facebook via Facebook's platform, and show them what you want to show them, and get them to take action from there. YouTube is the second largest search engine, second to only Google, and videos promoted to consumers based on search terms is a massive, massive benefit and capability of YouTube, and it's incredibly effective. So we'll get into some of the ways that people are using YouTube in a little bit later, but it's the largest video viewing platform out there, and I think that you have to incorporate all of these things into your strategy, and especially addressable and connected TV. So this is going to be, as we kind of talked about, it's the OTT. You can combine and target the same consumers now across roughly the same data points, possibly different data providers. But let's say from a first party standpoint, remarketing, you could remarket somebody who's been on your website across all these channels. And depending on the channel, you could possibly tweak the video that you're going to send them or the sequence of how you're going to send them, based on how they're interacting with these different channels. But it doesn't make sense to just do only YouTube, even though YouTube's massive, or just Facebook. It makes sense to go across all of them and have a strategy that's unified to put the right message in front of the right consumer at the right time, on the right device, on the right channel, and then listen for the right response metrics. So one thing that we learned from a case study, and I picked an auto dealership for this because we do a lot of business with automotive, but this is a Toyota dealership that we work with. The difference between pre-roll and connected TV was very interesting when we started looking at the time it took for people to convert on site. So in general, when we split up our audiences, we're talking about prospecting and retargeting. So we're using predictive modeling for the prospecting campaign based on the data from the business's website, and we're targeting people who are most likely to be in market to buy a Toyota from the dealership in their area. And we saw that for pre-roll, it was about an average of just shy of 26 days to convert from first impression to conversion. Whereas with connected TV, with predictive modeling, it was just shy of 30 days to convert. So when we're serving these ads to people who have never been to the business's website before or not done business with them recently, we see it's roughly 30 days-ish for conversion. But then when we look at remarketing in terms of how the remarketing impacts, so against known audiences, pre-roll was just shy of 25 days, but connected TV dropped under 12 days. So when you're remarketing people who have been on your website and showing them the right commercials, we were able to accelerate the time it took in terms of days to convert to about half of what we were seeing with pre-roll. And it doesn't mean we don't want to be across both platforms. It's part of an example of why you want to be everywhere. But in terms of connected TV, the metric that really mattered for the dealership is vehicle description pages, because we want to make sure that people are going and looking at specific vehicles. It's a proven point in automotive that if you look at the more vehicle description pages any given car gets, the faster that car is going to move off the lot. So we're optimizing everything to vehicle description pages, and a large part of them were influenced by our connected TV buy. But what's interesting is within the audiences we're targeting, from Spanish language targeting in Southern California, the prospecting ad group for pre-roll performed exceptionally better than connected TV, where that was about 12 days to convert versus 25 days. So different audiences are receptive in different ways, and it's really sort of highlights the reason why a multi-platform approach is necessary. You want to make sure that you're casting a net. This is why we're calling this video everywhere, casting a wide net so that you can reach people and be there when the consumer wants to engage with your business. So the way that we think about strategy, and this is kind of the way that we've thought about it from Mad Taxi since the beginning, is you really have to sort of answer 3 basic questions when you're talking about any digital campaign, but specifically video. So those questions are, who do you want to reach? What do you want to tell those people? And then what do you want them to do? So when you're talking about who do you want to reach, it's about sort of that audience development and refinement. So thinking about this across channels, across platforms, obviously geo-targeted, what are the types of attributes that the consumers that you really want to go after, either that you know make up your core business right now, or people who you really want to reach because you're not reaching them right now? Describe those people. Talk about who, what are their demographic traits, what are their psychographic or behavioral traits. Let's figure out and figure out who these people are, and then let's start thinking about what do we want to tell them. So what would you tell somebody who is, maybe at the beginning of the buyer's journey and possibly thinking about buying whatever it is your product or service that you're offering, versus what would you want to tell somebody who's been to your website and already interacted with you and is further down the funnel? So it doesn't just have to be one message. You could have a complex or nuanced business model that may take 3 to 4 to 5 different messages to a consumer to let them know why they should do business with you. Or it may be something where there's an intro video and then you start diving a little bit deeper into the capabilities of a product. That can be done through sequential video delivery, so that we're able to sort of serve video 1, and then once that audience has watched 100% of video 1, we stop serving video 1 and you start serving video 2. And then once that audience has watched 100% of video 2, stop serving video 2 and serve video 3, and so on. And that can happen from both a prospecting and a remarketing campaign. So you can do frequency capping there, so that you could say, on connected TV in particular, I only want to serve 1 ad per household per every 5 hours, or every 4 hours, or every day. If you don't have a huge budget and you want to get as much reach as possible, then it makes sense to frequency cap at like 1 time per 24 hours per household, and that'll allow your message to be on the big screen and reach as many people as possible while still optimizing to completed views. And so it's really sort of, we're only limited by our creativity and I guess the ability to create these assets. But thinking through that, it doesn't have to be the same messaging for each audience group. As I mentioned earlier, you could have different sequential messaging for different audience groups based on the products or services you're advertising, or based on the where they are in the purchase funnel. And then what do you want them to do? So that's the third key component. And that's something that is awesome with digital video, is that we can track behavior on site. So people who have been exposed to these videos, not only are we tracking and reporting on people who have actually watched them, it's 100% viewable inventory. We're optimized to completion rates, and it's generally high completion rates anyway. But that doesn't do you any good if people don't make it to your site and interact with you. So we're able to see, per that Toyota example, the time decay from when people are first exposed to video to when they make it to the site. But also beyond that, conversion, we're optimized to conversions. Where are people going on the site? So as long as you have sort of your overall KPIs and alignment of, this is what I would want prospecting to do. I want people to reach out, and I expect them to, take certain actions on my site, and then retargeting takes over once people have had some sort of site engagement. And then from there, you're encouraging them to convert, make contact, buy from you, etc. And all of this can be done with real-time analytics as well too. All of these platforms have pretty powerful analytic capabilities that we can tell exactly what's working, why, what's that costing me, and then how do we start optimizing across platforms to get the best possible result. So diving more into the who do you want to reach. First party targeting is probably the most important. That would be data that you have on your own consumers. That could be a CRM file. That could be something that you could upload through Facebook or Instagram, serve messages to people who you know are your current customers. That could be also people who have been to your website or certain websites. So think of that as remarketing. If you don't have that, you could do third-party targeting. So we have over 90,000 different data points that we can target in our platform. That would be basic things like demographics, but then also things like behavioral traits, like what people or where people are shopping, what they're interested in. Are they heavy home and garden purchasers? Do they shop at certain grocery stores? Do they have kids in the home? Are they interested in taking a vacation? All of this is gleaned from third-party data brokers, and then we're targeting these households based on this data, or these individuals depending on the device. You can also use your first-party targeting to do lookalike modeling. So this can be done across Facebook, YouTube, also with our RTB platform. But basically, you take all of the attributes of what you know about your current customer base, suppress your current customer base, and then go out and target people who look just like them from a third-party data attribute sense. It's a very powerful prospecting tool and a way to get in front of as many people as possible with predictive modeling across all these devices and platforms. You can also retarget on other devices. So this is also something that's pretty cool. So let's say a scenario where I've been shown a connected TV commercial at my neighbor's house, and then anybody who's connected, I'm over there, I'm connected to his Wi-Fi. Once that commercial has aired, once somebody has watched 100% of that commercial, you can remarket to every device that's connected to that household IP with display ads or with additional video ads or something that's going to be less expensive potentially than a connected TV ad again. But then if that person goes and is getting to your website, then you can start looking at retargeting on other platforms. So that could be, whether they're Facebook or through AdWords and YouTube, et cetera. You can start retargeting to people based on all the different platforms, and again, choose the messaging that makes the most sense for that platform. With that, aligning the message to the buying stage is key. So if you're going for brand awareness, maybe that's going to be sort of general brand or engagement videos. Maybe it's educational videos. Basically, it's sort of, we know people haven't heard of you before, they haven't been to your website recently, they aren't in your current CRM system. What do you want to tell them about your brand? What do we want to do to get them engaged, to get them excited about your brand, and use that sight, sound, and motion to get some sort of emotional connection? Once they're connected with your brand, maybe we're looking at to move them down a consideration phase, some sort of an explainer or how-to video or a product video. That could be something that could be done on YouTube. It could be done through connected TV, etc. But you're starting to sort of move people down the path to purchase. And as they're getting to the point of decision, maybe they're considering you and another business or something like that. If you have recorded video testimonials or any sort of case study videos or anything that's going to reinforce the brand, charitable causes, whatever it is that you're doing, something that can tip the balance of power in your favor, you can start telling consumers, and this point of decision would be done based on, think about that as remarketing where they are on your site, or how many videos they've already watched if this is sequential messaging. And then once somebody's bought from you, you have a couple of choices where you can reinforce loyalty. If you're a heavy repeat purchase business, wait a few days and then start sending out either potentially compatible products based on what somebody's bought, or talk about different business lines depending on how in-depth your CRM system goes. But there's a lot of things that can be done with loyalty. It could just be as simple as a thank you video. You don't really want to creep somebody out that you put an ad on their TV to thank you from buying a car from them. But at the same time, there's lots that can be done there based on your business objectives. All right, so getting into what do you want them to do? So when we think about goal alignment here on awareness with, let's say, connected and addressable TV, we're maybe looking at like prospecting, and we're using that predictive modeling that I was talking about. Trying to get into as many households as possible with a very high impact message. And then from there, it's mainly like going to be a higher funnel goal. So we want to get those people to come to the site, make a site visit. Maybe they make it through like, the second page depth, something along those lines. But then, as people are moving down the funnel, then maybe you're starting to moving into Facebook or to YouTube, something that might have a higher CPM or something that might be still a low cost per completed view. But basically, we're able to do something where we're getting into, how do we move people down the funnel? That could be targeted pre-roll as well too. When it comes to decision, that's where retargeting across YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, pre-roll, connected and addressable TV, you start giving specific messages. And the goal would be at the upper funnel, optimizing to completed video views for prospecting. And then as you move into retargeting, that's when we start to optimizing towards conversion events. So once you've made contact with somebody, starting to optimize to something that's happening on site, and then beyond, then we're going to be moving to specific conversion events. Excuse me one moment. Excuse me, guys. All right, so in terms of strategic approach, so what's the optimal length here? So typical videos we've seen from research that consumers prefer 1 to 15 seconds. So, 46% of consumers say shorter videos are better. The longer the video, generally less likely it's going to be appealing to consumers. So when you're thinking about your strategy, try and think about how you can encapsulate your business and show people what's really relevant within a 30-second or less, and think about how you would use maybe one 30-second video and multiple 15-second videos to get your message across. All right, moving into solutions for your business. So we've talked a little bit about advanced or connected TV already. Online video ads have a very high impact on a lot of the key measurements, more so probably than traditional TV. So message recall, brand recall, overall likability. You have the ability to combine digital storytelling with key audiences across multiple devices. And this is really sort of the key for connected TV. 56% of advertisers have said they're likely to move TV ad budget to digital video in 2017, while 71% that felt that digital video was as is more effective than traditional TV. And we kind of talked about this a little bit already. So it's that first party targeting, retargeting on other devices, third party targeting, lookalike modeling, and then geo targeting. All of the different targeting options that are out there for connected TV make it an incredibly powerful platform. As I mentioned, because of the high completion rates and also because of the overall effectiveness, you can reach any household you want basically at scale anywhere across the country in as little as possibly 5 to 10 cents a day, depending on how many messages you put in front of them. Some of the offerings here that you have is you're getting people who have already cut the cord. Sometimes people may have a DirecTV Now or Sling in addition to cable, but most of the times they're probably not going to pay for both. So you have your premier distributors up here, sort of in the OTT realm. Then there you also have the direct network, so the content owners who are going to be putting out their own content. But as I mentioned earlier, measuring the impact of CTV by attributing sort of that view through conversion driven by your CT commercials is key. And that's one point I want to make too, that consumers who are going to be watching on connected TV, you have to have some sort of cross-device site tracking graph, because otherwise you're not going to be able to tell. People can't click on a TV ad and make it to your site. If you do see clicks coming from your connected TV ad, that means that that's probably not really a true connected TV ad, and that maybe will be something that's served as more I call it advanced TV or like a full episode player. So just something to kind of keep in mind there. But making sure that you're able to track that from that household IP and those devices coming to your site is absolutely critical. YouTube is an amazing platform. They have absolutely extraordinary targeting. You can do very economical prospecting. So the prospecting to call, you only pay for a completed view with TrueView. The cost average 10 cents to 15 cents. You can use remarketing lists for search. So people who have engaged with your site, now you can remarket to them on YouTube, or you can use YouTube to find similar customers by uploading your CRM data and exclude it and find people who look just like your current customers, but advertise to them across YouTube. So some of the three sort of main formats on YouTube would be the TrueView in-stream. So that plays like a regular TV style ad or pre-roll. Viewers can generally skip after 5 seconds, or they can keep watching. And you only pay if at least 30 seconds is watched or to the end of the video, whichever comes first. So a good tip here is if you have a way to put branding within the first 5 seconds of the video, so at least if people skip, you get a chance to put a brand impression on them, absolutely do that. But you only pay for when people watch a full video. So in that sense, you might as well take advantage of that aspect of this platform. They also have TrueView Discovery. So you'll see sponsored videos or things that you might like. They appear sort of alongside to the top right here. And again, that still shows up as an impression, but you only pay when somebody chooses to watch that video. So that's another great way from a branding perspective to get a message in front of people. The bumper ads are something that's relatively new. They started probably sometime mid last year, but those are 6-second video ads that think of those as like snackable content or bite-sized. Very great for top of mind awareness and sort of like tease the right issue stances. It's something that you can use to really amplify your message or remarket your message. And so if somebody watched 100% of your regular video, your 30-second video or something like that through TrueView, you could retarget those people with 6-second videos if they haven't made it to your site yet. So you can do some really cool stuff with that to kind of keep teasing them and getting them there. And then obviously, like, the reporting would be the impressions, the cost per view, percent viewed. YouTube does have the ability to click through, and YouTube also has some cool stuff like for e-commerce. Shoppable YouTube ads are a really neat feature. Not talking about them specifically here, but that's also something too where you can actually show product and have people click directly through to your site and buy it. So it becomes a message, a means to get new consumers into your funnel through YouTube for e-commerce. Some of the audience development things with search and YouTube. So remarketing, so people who have already engaged with your site, in-market audiences, those would be people who, based on data, we know that they're in market to buy something. That's third-party data. Affinity audiences, so raise brand awareness and drive consideration by reaching people who have already shown an interest in your topics. Demographics, it's pretty standard and easy, so based on whatever you want for basic demo categories, household income, etc. Keyword targeting is key. So if people are searching for, let's say you're a mechanic and people are searching for ads like, how to change oil or what's this engine light mean or something like that, and then you might be able to get your message in front of people that way. Life events. People are doing a massive amount of research on YouTube, especially when it comes to travel, moving, marriage, graduation, etc. Great way to connect with people there. And then you can target ads to specific topics on YouTube and also on the display network. Social, you can use a couple of different formats. So sort of your standard image ad, like a website click campaign, you can use video in place of an image on social. Or you can run standard video ads on Facebook. And with our platform, we can optimize to 100% completed views for with Quantum for Facebook. Facebook counts a view typically at 3 seconds, but we can optimize to 100% completion rate with our platform for videos on Facebook. And with our Quantum platform, it's not just optimized to completion rates. We can also optimize to things on top of Facebook's auto optimization. So we can pick up to 5 different KPIs on your site and then optimize to what consumers are doing after being exposed to your video on social channels. So with programmatic RTB pre-roll, so we can target those refined audiences, making sure that we're putting your message in front of the right person at the right time on the right device. Obviously looking at click action for pre-roll, but view through as well too. In my opinion, if the whole purpose of video is to get people to watch the video, so you want to optimize to 100% completion rates with video, and then make sure that we're tracking the view through after that, because once they've watched 100% of a pre-roll video, there's no way for them to get to the site. They're now watching the content that they went to see originally, but you do want to track that view through optimization, or that view through site visit, and then track the actions that people take after they've visited your site. Use that as a way to get more and more people into your funnel and optimize to get better overall performance out of your video budget. All right, so near to the end here. Sorry, this has been a little bit of a whirlwind, and I've been talking a little fast. But why Ad Taxi is sort of our turnkey video solution. So from a strategy perspective, we think about it across all the channels. We like to take a holistic approach and align everything you're doing, currently with existing efforts to make sure that your video platform and your creative messaging is really best suited and is going to help elevate your KPIs. We can help you develop and manage your creative through this process. If you have existing assets, that's great, but we can also help you develop creative assets and think through that sort of sequential messaging. What would you want to tell someone? It's very cost effective now with some of the video production advancements that are out there. So essentially, you can make really cost-effective videos with high impact and put the right message in front of the right people based on where they are. From an analytics and optimization standpoint, all of the metrics are the standard metrics are there, but we're really looking at optimizing 100% completed video views, but then optimizing to on-site activity. Trying to get everything we do is all about conversion-based and performance-oriented. So let's work with you on a strategy to get the right creative in front of the right person and optimize to get that person into your CRM system and doing business with you. The other nice thing that we offer is for everything but social. So for YouTube, connected TV, and pre-roll, we offer a 100% pay per completed video. You don't have any wasted ad spend. You're only going to pay for people who watched 100% of your video, and you don't pay for anything else. So it's a nice differentiator that we have that sort of fits with YouTube's model, and something that we can offer across the spectrum, except for on Facebook and Instagram. So again, why add taxi for video? Omnichannel, so one vendor, but we can put you across all platforms. Omni-device, whether it's mobile, tablet, desktop, or OTT, wherever consumers are watching video, we're able to put that video in front of them. We can use our Quantum platform to optimize based on conversions. We can help you with audience segmentation and sequential video ad delivery, and really work with you on strategies of how do we prospect the right people, and then how do we convert those interested people across all these different platforms. Everything we do is an audience-centric approach. It's all about the audience. Who do you want to reach? What do you want to tell them? What do you want them to do? And then you only have to pay for completed video views on YouTube or on connected TV or on pre-roll. And then we also have a team of platform-specific experts. So we don't have generalists, but the YouTube people are experts, the RTV people are experts, and the Facebook people are experts. Everybody has been working specifically in these platforms, and they know how to get the best out of them. Some quick check boxes here. So against the competition, I talked about we're premier partners with Google, Bing Gold partners, Facebook, SMB partners. We really have just about everything you could possibly want in an agency. We do it all. We do it all really well. And again, you're going to get this video, but a lot of people sort of specialize in one particular area. We specialize in a lot of areas, and it's mainly realizing that you have to be an omni-channel company now, because it's an omni-channel world. It's an omni-channel on-demand world, and we really like to sort of start with the end in mind. It's all conversion based, right? So we know what your KPIs are. We work with you to develop those KPIs. Start with the end in mind. Let's try and figure out how to get you as many conversions as possible. We do that through testing and optimization. Everything we do is very transparent and accountable. We have a way to harmonize the omni-channel experience and span that to influence consumers wherever they are. It's all audience-centric. It doesn't have to be just one audience, but it's multiple audiences, and then it's strategically executed. So we know everything moves fast, but that's great. It's something that we're pushing ourselves. And again, it's really not just about technology, but it's about that human interaction and the intersection between people and technology that really makes us special. And that's why we help clients. We have such a high retention rate. So thank you all very much for your time today. Hopefully, if you have had any questions, you've been able to put those questions into GoToMeeting here. And as Kenzie mentioned at the beginning, we will definitely reach back out. We'll answer every single question that came through. But thank you very much for your time and attention. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care.